Jodie, lovely to meet you.
You too.
I wasn't seeing things. Your character is covered in tattoos, right? For this?
Yes, it is, but I don't know, is that a massive spoiler?
I don't know, because I haven't got that far, so I haven't watched the whole thing, so I don't know if that's a spoiler.
I'm just saying, even the character, I mean, this is the thing. This was literally, however many pages into Ep 1, I went, I'm playing that part, even though I knew it'd be a nightmare in makeup. But it isn't, because it's such an incredible character choice. It isn't, it's there. It says so much about who Tess is. And I absolutely adored that, but also we don't see it that often. And it's the genius of Emily's writing. And to me, straight away, I was like, I have to play this part. Who is she? Because who you think she is, and the armour that's built up, and it's just incredible. It's such an incredible role.
Did you pick anything then that was on there, or was anything with any significance on?
Everything. There's not one accident on there, but it was, I would love to take credit for it. It was absolutely not me. It was Emily and Sheldon, the makeup designer, and it was, there was a lot of, obviously, development of characters, but there was some things that were in there. I picked the zip. There's a zip tattoo, which was really important to me, but it was a medley of, there's poetry that's been written by the writer, there's designs that reference certain periods, there's a transition of time on there. You have someone who would have got some tattoos in their early 20s, some that would have been later on in life. There were some that you potentially get when you've probably had a lot of wine, and there's some that you have thought about.
Okay.
So it was a complete...
It's all got, significance.
Every single thing was a choice, and it was, I think, for me, there are certain character descriptions that writers can give you so much in one line, and it was that.
What do you draw on, though, for a role like this? Because there's a lot to it, and I imagine it takes a toll on you as well.
It's an interesting one. I didn't fully realise how... It wasn't until I played the Doctor when I've always said, I'm not method, just because in between takes I quite happily go back to my broad Yorkshire accent, chat away, and find out what everyone's doing for the dinner, and there's all that. But then it wasn't until I played the Doctor that I realised that when you do, because mainly career-wise before that, I'd been very kind of emotional, or characters that was traumatic events had happened to them. And it wasn't until I played the Doctor that I realised how light you could, because there's just such a kind of childlike energy to that role, that I felt like for 3 years I was like, wow, I'm 12 again. Whereas going back into it, and this being my first job back since that role, there's a certain amount of research that you should, and I do, but then there is the thing of, I might not stay in character, but if you spend a day in a certain, or 5 months in a certain headspace, there is that I suppose, soundtrack or narrative in your brain. But I'm lucky because the main thing is that this is a role, and I'm one of the lucky ones that this hasn't happened to. So there's also that, and I think the brilliant thing for me with Tess was I'm a world away from her on paper, and that was the thing for me that made me want to play her so much. Was I'm incredibly tactile, I overshare, I'm manic, and I can't read a room. But the thing about Tess was that everything is internalised, and particularly where we meet her at this particular moment in her life, she's the outsider coming in, and everything is contained, and she's built up all these protective walls, and once the cracks start to appear, how that manifests itself, and in it, that is her response to things was very different to mine. But that's what was so fascinating, because actually, we are all these things all the time. And the exploration of friendship was so important to me, and that's what I adored, because this story isn't anything without all of them. And really, the main storyline for me is Simone and what this book does to us. And getting to see that from her point of view, Hat's point of view, Tess's point of view, was so uniquely written to me.
It is, though, your first role back after playing the Doctor. How much has life changed for you since that?
The thing about getting the Doctor is the life change. So you get announced as it, and then you get to play this incredible role. But obviously, then for the next 4 years, because it was 3 seasons over 4 years, you just have a time of your life on set with your best mates and loving every second of it. So it's. The change is that suddenly you are grief-ridden every day because you're not there, and someone else is playing the role, and it's an amazing thing because you'll never not be it. It'll be the conversation I'll be having with it'll be linked to every job for the next however long I'm lucky enough to work, and I couldn't be happier about it. It's my happiest time, and if that job meant that I got to do this job, then it's just the gift that keeps on giving.